The eviction notice felt heavy in my hands, not because of the paper but because of the weight of betrayal it carried. For 5 years, I'd paid my parents' $2,800 monthly mortgage, sacrificing my own dreams of buying a place while working as a financial analyst. "You have until Sunday," my mother said coldly, standing in the doorway of what had been my childhood bedroom. "We need the space for your brother Michael when he gets out of rehab." Again. I looked around at the room I'd kept immaculate even while working 60-hour weeks. "I've paid over $168,000 toward this house. And you lived here for free," my father shot back from behind her. "Consider it rent." Free. The word echoed in my mind as I remembered every repair I'd paid for, every utility bill I'd covered, every property tax payment I'd quietly made when they'd claimed they were short this month. "What about Michael's gambling debts?" I asked quietly. "The ones I paid off last year?" My mother's face hardened. "He's family. He needs help." "And what am I?" "Ungrateful," my father spat. "After everything we've done for you." I pulled out my phone, opening my banking app to show them the transfers. "Everything you've done? I've been carrying this family since I graduated college. While Michael blew his trust fund and yours on poker games. He's sick." Mom defended. "He can't help it. You're the responsible one. You're supposed to help family." The irony was suffocating. 5 years ago, when the bank had threatened foreclosure, I'd stepped in. Fresh out of college, I'd used my signing bonus and starting salary to save their house. They'd cried, hugged me, called me their saving grace. Now, because Michael needed his childhood room back after his 4th stint in rehab, I was disposable. "Fine," I said, my voice steadier than I felt. "I'll be out by Sunday." What they didn't know was that I'd seen this coming. 3 months ago, when they'd started hinting about Michael needing a fresh start, I'd made a call to James Cooper, my old college friend who now worked at the bank holding their mortgage. "Your parents missed some paperwork," he'd warned me. "Technical defaults buried in the fine print. If someone wanted to force an auction." I'd spent the next week studying their loan documents, finding every flaw, every missed deadline, every technical violation. Then I'd started moving money around, preparing for what I knew would come. As I packed my things that night, my phone buzzed with a text from James. "Everything's set. They have no idea their mortgage is in technical default. One phone call starts the process." I looked at the family photo on my wall, taken the day I'd graduated, before I'd become their personal ATM. Mom, Dad, Michael, and me. We were all smiling then. "Get out," my father's voice echoed up the stairs. "And don't even think about taking any furniture. We paid for everything in this house." I smiled grimly, typing a response to James. "Do it." Then I called my real estate attorney, Sarah Martinez. "Remember that shell company we set up? Time to put it to use." "You sure about this?" she asked. "Once we start." "They made their choice," I said, looking around at the room that would soon be mine again, just not the way they expected. "Now I'm making mine." 3 weeks after moving into my small apartment downtown, the dominoes began to fall exactly as planned. James called me during lunch. "Your parents just received the default notice. They're at the bank right now raising hell." I could picture the scene, my father's face turning red as he shouted about loyal customers and family homes, my mother crying about her poor sick son, needing stability. The same performance they'd given me countless times when they needed money. "Your father's demanding to speak to the loan manager," James continued. "He keeps saying there must be a mistake." "Is there?" I asked coolly, knowing the answer. 4 technical violations, 3 missed insurance payments they thought you'd covered, and property tax documentation that was never properly filed. The auction's scheduled for next month. I opened my laptop, checking my account balances. Between my savings, investments, and the money I'd been quietly setting aside instead of paying their bills these past 3 months, I had enough. More than enough. My phone buzzed with a text from Michael. "How could you do this to them? They need me here." I thought about responding, telling him about the $42,000 I'd paid to cover his gambling debts, or the 3 cars I'd helped finance that he'd eventually crashed. Instead, I blocked his number. That evening, my mother showed up at my apartment. "We need $48,000, she announced, not bothering with hello. "To bring everything current. Since this is clearly your fault for stopping payments without warning." "No." She blinked and used to that word from me. What do you mean no? We're your parents. Were you my parents when you threw me out after I paid your mortgage for 5 years? That was different. Michael needs dash. Michael needs rehab. Real rehab, not another chance to drain this family dry. And you need to learn that actions have consequences. Her face crumpled into familiar tears. We'll lose the house. Yes, I agreed. You will. After she left, I called Sarah. They'll try to delay the auction. Probably claim hardship or file bankruptcy. Already handled, she assured me. Your shell company, Turner Properties LLC, has priority position due to those tax liens we purchased. The auction will proceed as scheduled. The next month passed in a blur of angry calls, flying accusations, and finally desperate pleas. My father threatened to sue me. My mother tried guilt. Michael alternated between begging and threats. I stayed silent through it all. The day before the auction, I received a final text from my mother. If you ever loved this family, you'll help us. One last time. I thought about all the last times over the years. The endless emergencies, the constant demands, the way they'd taken my love and twisted it into obligation. Tomorrow, I typed back, you'll learn what real consequences feel like. That night, I stayed up late reviewing the auction documents with Sarah. Everything was in order. Turner Properties LLC was registered in Delaware, its ownership hidden behind layers of corporate veils. As far as my family knew, some faceless investment company was about to take their home. Last chance to back out, Sarah said. I looked at my bank statement, at the years of transfers draining my accounts to feed their endless needs. No, I said firmly. Tomorrow we end this. The auction was held online, which meant I could watch my parents' reactions through the security cameras I'd never told them about, the ones I'd installed for their protection last year. They sat huddled around their kitchen table, staring at their laptop with desperate hope as the bidding began. Opening bid, $425,000, the auctioneer announced. My father's face lit up. The house was worth at least $750,000. He probably thought they'd make enough to pay off the defaults and have money left over. Another bailout, another escape from consequences. Then Turner Properties LLC entered the bidding. My phone buzzed, a message from Michael. Some company is driving up the price. Make them stop. I watched through the camera as the bidding climbed. Other investors dropped out one by one, unable to match Turner Properties' aggressive bids. My parents' initial excitement turned to horror as they realized nobody would be swooping in to save them. Final bid, $755,000, the auctioneer declared. Sold to Turner Properties LLC. My mother burst into tears. My father slammed his laptop shut. Michael stormed out, probably heading to the nearest casino to relieve stress. Then came the knock they'd been dreading. Sarah Martinez, representing Turner Properties LLC, stood at their door with the eviction papers. You have 30 days, she informed them crisply. But this is our home, my mother protested. We've lived here for 30 years. Sarah remained professionally detached. The new owner is willing to discuss a rental arrangement at market rate, with proper security deposits and background checks. My father's face reddened. We don't rent. We own. Not anymore, Sarah replied, handing them her business card. Contact my office if you wish to discuss rental terms. Otherwise, please have the property vacated by the specified date. I waited until they'd received the papers before making my move. Walking up the familiar driveway one last time, I saw them through the window huddled over the eviction notice. The door was still unlocked. Some habits die hard. Hello, I said quietly. They spun around, faces shifting from shock to hope as they saw me. Sweetheart. My mother rushed forward. Thank God you're here. Some company bought the house. We need dash. Turner Properties LC, I interrupted, pulling out my own copy of the deed. Named after Grandma Turner. The grandmother whose inheritance you borrowed from me for Michael's first rehab stint. The color drained from their faces as understanding dawned. You, my father whispered. You bought our house. No, I corrected him. I bought my house. The one I've been paying for anyway. My mother's tears started again. But where will we go? What about Michael? That's not my problem anymore. But since I'm feeling generous, I'll offer you the same deal any other tenant would get, Market rent, security deposit, background check, and absolutely no gambling addicts allowed on the property. You can't do this to your own family, my father exploded. I looked around at the house I'd saved, paid for, and finally claimed. Actually, I can. And I did. You taught me that family means taking responsibility, so I'm taking responsibility for ending this cycle. We'll fight this, he threatened. With what money? I asked quietly. The money you don't have because you gave it all to Michael? The money I stopped giving you. Walking to the door, I turned back one last time. You have 30 days to decide. Become responsible tenants or find somewhere else to live. Either way, welcome to the consequences of your choices. As I left, I heard my mother call out, "We're still your parents." No, I replied without turning around. You're just potential tenants now. I suggest you think carefully about your rental application. 1 week after the auction, I sat in my new home office, formerly the guest room where Michael had crashed between rehab stints, reviewing rental applications. Not from my parents, of course. They were still cycling through the stages of grief, currently stuck between anger and bargaining. My phone lit up with another call from a blocked number. The 7th today. I let it go to voicemail, already knowing it would be Michael using another burner phone. You think you're so smart? His slurred voice filled my speaker. Mom's in the hospital because of you. Her blood pressure dash. I deleted the message before he finished. The hospital would have called if there was any truth to it. Besides, I had their medical proxy now. Another detail they'd overlooked when I was their responsible daughter. A knock at the door interrupted my thoughts. Through the security camera, I saw Sarah Martinez, but she wasn't alone. Detective Roberts from the Financial Crimes Unit stood beside her. Your brother's been busy, Sarah said as I let them in. He tried to forge your parents' signatures on a reverse mortgage application. Would have gone through if James hadn't caught it. Detective Roberts opened his notebook. We've also linked him to 3 attempted wire transfers from your parents' accounts. Amateur stuff, but still felony fraud. I sank into my chair, suddenly exhausted. Let me guess, he claimed they authorized it? Actually, the detective smiled grimly. He claimed you authorized it. Said you gave him power of attorney before the auction. A laugh escaped me, hollow and bitter. Using my own tactics against me. Except I actually had their power of attorney. Sarah pulled out her tablet, showing me the forged documents. He used the same template as your legitimate POA, just changed the dates and signatures. Even tried to backdate the notary stamp. The notary's the one who reported it, Detective Roberts added. Said he remembered your brother from a previous incident. Of course. Michael had tried to forge Mom's signature on a car loan last year. The notary had caught it then too, but my parents begged him not to press charges. Family matter, they'd said. What are my options? I asked. Press charges, the detective said immediately. This is multiple felonies. He's looking at serious time. Sarah nodded in agreement. It would also help protect you from any future claims they might make about the house purchase. I walked to the window, looking out at the familiar neighborhood. Mrs. Chin next door was tending her roses. Mr. Peterson was walking his dog. Everything looked normal, peaceful. Like my family hadn't just imploded. Do it, I decided. File the charges. Your parents will fight it, Sarah warned. They'll claim he was authorized. Then they can explain that to a judge. I turned back to them. And speaking of judges, how's the eviction proceeding? Sarah grimaced. They filed a challenge. Claiming elder abuse and undue influence. It's weak, but it'll buy them a few weeks. Perfect timing, I muttered. Right when their first rent payment would have been due. My phone buzzed again, this time with an email from James. The subject line made my stomach turn. Urgent second mortgage discovery. I opened it, scanning quickly. Sarah, look at this. She read over my shoulder, her expression darkening. They took out a second mortgage 3 months ago? How did we miss this? Private lender, I said, recognizing the company name. One of those predatory outfits that advertise on late-night TV. Must have been right after they started planning to kick me out. Detective Roberts peered at the document. Interest rates astronomical. They borrowed against the equity you built up paying the first mortgage. The pieces clicked together. That's how they were planning to support Michael after getting rid of me. They mortgaged my payments. Sarah was already typing on her tablet. This complicates things. The second mortgage holder could challenge the auction. No, I said, an idea forming. This makes everything easier. I pulled up my banking app, checking the numbers. The second mortgage is for $175,000. Current balance $172,843. What's the payoff with penalties? Sarah calculated quickly. About $185,000. Why? Because, I smiled, remembering something my father always said about leverage. Sometimes you have to fight fire with fire. I turned to Detective Roberts. How quickly can you get a search warrant for their banking records? All of them, including the offshore account they think I don't know about. He raised an eyebrow. The one in the Caymans? Already subpoenaed it. Your brother's wire transfer attempts gave us probable cause. Perfect. Everything was falling into place again. I'd learned from the best. After all, watching my parents manipulate and maneuver for years had taught me how to think 3 steps ahead. Sarah, buy that second mortgage. Whatever it takes. Then we're going to have a little chat with my parents about their financial choices. She understood immediately. Squeeze them from both sides? No, I corrected, looking at the family photo still hanging in the hallway. We're going to give them exactly what they wanted. A chance to save Michael. Just not the way they expected.